Hey everyone, welcome back to the wild heart of West Texas, where the sun scorches the land and secrets lie buried under centuries of dust. Today we follow Tom Logan, a solitary rancher whose search for a simple hobby leads him deep into the parched earth. And face to face with something far more dangerous than gold. As the August heat presses in and a metal detector chirps to life, a quiet day turns into a life and death struggle. What did he find out there, and will he live to tell about it? Let's dig in. This story starts with a shimmer and a warning. Just 7 days earlier, Tom Logan had stumbled upon a gold-streaked piece of sandstone at the boundary of his 50-acre ranch. The gold was naturally embedded, nothing extraordinary, yet its shimmer caught his attention. Always drawn to shiny things, Tom jumped online and ordered a metal detector from Amazon. And compared to his past adventures, this felt like child's play, but he welcomed the distraction, something to occupy his thoughts now that he lived alone in such a spacious home. He needed a pastime. In Odessa, Texas, August rarely brought rain. Instead, it clung to his clothing, his bare skin, and spots he'd rather not bring up. He had a hunch the area was once a creek bed that ferried minerals and other traces across the harsh landscape. The sun, dipping low on the horizon, glared in his face, its heat setting fire to his cheeks as the faint odor of dry tumbleweed scratched at his nostrils. He moved through the terrain, the scuff of his cowboy boots echoing off the scattered pebbles in the dusty soil. Sagebrush and cactus were scattered across the scene. As he edged over a gentle hill, a few ragged bushes appeared, along with a massive hickory that reminded him of the mythical tree of life. His freshly delivered metal detector emitted a chirp once, then twice. He dropped to one knee, rubbing a coarse stone in his fingers, brushing off a sandy film. As a golden line ran through the sandstone with minuscule veins fanning out from its core. A grin parted his face, his hazel eyes shining. "Well, look at you. Got any shiny little buddies hiding nearby?" he said with a chuckle. Pocketing the stone, Tom continued forward, descending a slope where his boots left impressions in the loose ground. The detector sounded off again, its dinging growing more insistent and pulling his focus ahead. The coil hovered just above a broad, flat rock partially buried. Maybe it was the jackpot, but the steady beeping led him further until it intensified beside a boulder about waist high. Then silence fell. He must have stepped off the target, but Tom pushed on, making a mental note to revisit the promising location. Circling around the rock, his right hand hung loosely at his belt when suddenly, wound like a tight spring, a rattlesnake stared him down, tongue flickering and hissing, tail raised and rattling a spine-prickling threat. His forearm clenched, tightening his grasp on the detector's rubber grip. Dangerously close now, he knew the snake could strike within the full length of its body. Both remained motionless. Then, just as the detector chirped again, the snake lunged, sinking its fangs into the top of Tom's right hand. His eyes flew open wide, heart thundering like a bass drum. The device fell with a crash as the snake recoiled, its damage inflicted. Tom staggered backward, tripping over a stone and landing painfully on the wallet tucked in his back pocket. Gaining his feet, he whipped around and spotted his truck perched atop the hill. His ears throbbed with rushing blood. The scenery tilted and wobbled as he hurried uphill. Labored breaths escaped his lungs. His mind, spinning chaotically, clung desperately to one phrase looping over and over. Stay calm, breathe, slow the heart rate. Easier thought than done, considering the sweat now dripping from his brow. With effort, Tom opened the truck door, climbed inside, and gripped the wheel with effort. Using his left hand, he fumbled the keys into the ignition and turned them, bringing the engine to a reluctant growl. Lightheaded and gasping for breath, he shoved the shifter into drive with his left hand and stomped on the accelerator. Considering how remote he was and how far away help might be, he settled on one course of action to stay alive. The Chevy Silverado fishtailed before correcting course as it veered onto the dusty road that carved a path to the remote side of Tom's land. Through the rear view, clouds of grit billowed, obscuring the road behind as he aimed the vehicle straight toward the ranch house. Picking up speed, the aging red dirt rained down on the polished silver hood. His left hand gripped the wheel tightly, maneuvering over sunken crevices and jagged ridges carved by storms from springs long gone. Each bump jarred his body, his right hand inflamed and throbbing in sync with every heartbeat. The saliva flooded his mouth, forcing him to swallow repeatedly. Seated beside him, he fumbled with his swollen hand to retrieve his phone, laying the slim device on his lap. With a trembling index finger, he hit speed dial and held the phone to his ear. Hello, listen, Ava, a rattler bit me. Ava began to answer, but he interjected immediately. Meet me at the house. Yes, mind. You should have called 911. You need a hospital. Her voice quavered in his ear, almost overpowered by the roar of the V8 engine and the jarring rhythm of the Silverado crunching over the rough terrain. I'm at the west edge of the property near the old dry creek. You have to get to a hospital. I know, but I need antivenom quickly. I'm closer to home than town. Tom Logan, you know better. You'll beat me there. I'm 10 minutes out, just bring your kit and the anti-venom. I'll be there, and I'm calling for an ambulance too. Fine, go fast, Tom, click. Rattlesnakes, he muttered, flinging the phone onto the seat beside him. He clenched his jaw against the searing pain pulsing from the twin puncture marks nestled between his thumb and forefinger. He had to stay composed. Panic would only make things worse. The venom would spread faster with an elevated heart rate, breath slow, deep, let it out, still not enough. His lungs begged for air, a sheen of sweat slid down his face. The time dragged forward, each minute stretching endlessly. Up ahead, the road twisted around a solitary oak tree, a mile to go. He shook his head and yanked the wheel left, rounding the bend with a lurch. His boot slammed onto the gas pedal, whipping his head backward as the truck surged forward. At that moment, he regretted indulging in his idea to try out a metal detector. All he wanted was to find some gold. The truck crested the ridge, leaping airborne for an instant before the tires reconnected with the dirt, skidding sideways and then regaining traction. The house finally came into view, white siding, front porch, and Ava's maroon Honda CR-V parked out front, hatch popped, her arm reaching inside for her medical supplies. Relief flooded him. He accelerated past the fencing and his horse, braking hard in a cloud of dust just 10 feet from Ava. Her wide hazel eyes shone with alarm, her fiery red braid resting down the front of her shirt. She darted to the driver's side, catching him as his body slumped sideways and spilled from the cab. Sheriff, his old bloodhound, erupted in a chorus of raw, confused barks, half howls, half whimpers. Ava helped lower him to the ground beside the rear tire and immediately dug into her kit. She pulled out a vial of anti-venom, loaded a syringe, flicked it, and searched for a usable vein in his left arm. Finding one, she plunged the needle in and pushed the serum into his bloodstream. Tom looked down at his watch. It only took 14 minutes from the snake bite to the antidote. I could have died before even reaching the ER, or at the very least, the venom might have done more serious harm to my nervous system. Tom, what were you even doing out there? One of these days, you're going to get yourself killed. From a rattlesnake, hardly. I've had worse bites. Like from what? Okay, that wasn't true, but hey, my phone's ringing. They can wait. It's in the front seat. Could you grab it? Might be something about my boat storage down in the Keys. Ava gave a disapproving look. Just get the phone. She climbed into the truck's cab, leaned across the front seat, retrieved the cell, and passed it to Tom. He didn't recognize the caller ID but answered anyway. His face reddened and his jaw slackened as he recognized the voice on the other end. Eddie? He said, wincing not from the bite anymore, but from the fast-talking man on the line. Tom, I know we haven't talked in years, Eddie said, but I need you to get on the next flight to Ecuador. My life depends on it. Kate Lockhart secured her bicycle to the rack in front of her flat and headed toward the stairway that led to the building's entrance. She was in Oxford, England, the city of dreaming spires with its historic churches, college buildings, dormitories, restaurants ranging from sleek and modern to quaint and traditional, and a sprawl of homes and cottages ringing the culturally mixed city limits. Letting out a tired breath, she ascended the steps toward the main door. After hours of standing at the museum, her muscles ached and her legs felt heavy. As she searched her keyring for the right one, a man approached at a leisurely pace. His ebony shoes gleamed, tapping sharply against the pavement. Everything about his outfit was pristine. A striking black suit with a corresponding vest, a fresh white shirt, and a tie in bold canary yellow held securely by a silver clip. A Rolex watch hung loosely from his left wrist. Their eyes met briefly before Kate looked away and focused on the entrance. Rain and time had left dark mildew streaks over the aged stone walls, and the damp, musty scent wrinkled her nose. When the man strolled past behind her, she inserted her key into the bronze knob, wrestling with an inexplicable flutter in her chest. The man's stare unsettled her. While Oxford occasionally experienced robberies, they typically occurred after dark and rarely involved someone so well-dressed. She inhaled, then exhaled deeply, and shifted her thoughts back to work as she turned the lock. Her day had been spent managing the return shipment of artifact crates at the museum. The exhibit had featured artifacts from King Tutankhamun's New Kingdom period. Most notably, the famed death mask had been on loan from Cairo's Egyptian Museum. Gaining approval for the piece took months of preparations, documentation, bureaucracy, and persistent negotiation, all for a public that often overlooked or failed to grasp the magnitude of Howard Carter's groundbreaking 1922 discovery. With the exhibit closing yesterday, she now faced more desk duties and less time on the museum floor in the coming weeks. "Excuse me, Miss Lockhart," came a hoarse voice behind her. Turning with the door partly open, she replied, "Yes, can I help you?" The same man from earlier stood there, his crooked smile noticeable. His deep brown hair framed striking topaz blue eyes and a sharply defined jaw. "Actually, I think I can help you. How's that? You're American." The bent smile returned along with a small laugh. "That I am, and you're the historian and curator at the Ashmolean Museum of Art and Archaeology." "That's right." "I'm here from the States to see the King Tut exhibit." "Wonderful. I hope it did not disappoint. And how exactly can you assist me?" "I believe you dropped this. It must have slipped from your purse, so I followed you." "I'm not sure. He retrieved a gold pocket watch from his inner jacket pocket. See, this belongs to you." "How did you come by that?" "I told you, it fell and I picked it up." "But it's definitely yours. Look, the engraving on the back proves it." Kate examined the round timepiece, flipping it open and shut, studying the back. The inscription unmistakably read, "The Lockhart Family, 1917. This time her smile was genuine. "Your appreciation for our work at the museum is thanks enough. Have a good day, sir." She stood there for a moment, mulling over the odd encounter. She couldn't recall ever putting the watch inside her purse. It was always in her trouser pocket. When it wasn't on her, it was either placed on her office desk or resting on the nightstand beside her bed every time. She curled her lips to one side in deliberation, gave a small nod, and turned toward the exit, leaving the man at the foot of the steps. Once inside, she ascended the staircase to the upper level and unlocked her apartment with a separate key. Her body recoiled, her purse slid from her hand, and she gasped aloud. Her nanny lay motionless on the tiled floor of the living room, throat cut, red spreading across the glossy marble beneath her. Behind her, sitting at the edge of the couch, a man with jet black hair gripped a hunting knife, its elegantly curved point pressed against the quivering throat of her 4-year-old daughter. The entrance groaned behind Kate and shut with a solid click. The stranger with amber eyes raised his chin slightly and said, "As you can see, Miss Lockhart, we have a lot to talk about."